Okay. So this is one of the best commentaries I've ever read in Isaiah. This is Dr. Victor Buckfazen. He was a strong rabbinical Jew. He came to Christ, fluent in 8 languages, and he goes through how this word for virgin is used in the Old Testament to help us understand what's going on in this verse. You have only 7 places that in this verse the word Alma is actually used anywhere else in the Old Testament. You have it. It's really interesting now. One of the verses he talks about a lot that people miss is if you guys turn to Genesis 24:43, here it's talking about Isaac and Rebekah. And it's talking about, with Rebekah, how she's a virgin. And if you go to verse 43, it says, I'm going to read verse 42. I'll wait till you guys get there. You guys okay? It says, this day I came to the well and said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if you will now prosper the way in which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin comes out to draw water, I say to her, please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink. That's the word Alma. Now this is applying to Rachel, right? This virgin who comes out to drink, please give me a drink. Go to Genesis 24, verse 16. I'm going to read verse 15 first. Here's what it says. And it happened before he had finished speaking that, behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. Now the young woman was very beautiful, behold, a virgin, no man had known her, and she went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. That's not Alma. That's Bethuel. You have both Hebrew words being used for the same woman, for Rachel. And yet she was a virgin. So what you'll hear a lot of time with non-believers is, well, you know, Bethuel and Alma can be used for both. Which is true, but then sometimes Bethuel can mean just a virgin, could mean a married woman with Alma, it could be both. Here you have Rachel very clearly, she's never had sex. It's being used in both cases. But throughout, in this verse, it's Alma, and there's only 6 places in the entire Old Testament where Alma is used, and it's used there for Rachel. So we're talking about in this verse a virgin. This is a virgin who's going to give birth and bear a son. So the question is, does this really point to Jesus Christ? Now, one of the cool things is, when you go back to the Septuagint is the earliest Greek translation by the Jews. It's dated around 280 to, it went over a period of time, about 80 years when they finally got through with it, but it's debated around, let's say, 250 BC. In the Septuagint, it literally uses the word parthenos, which means literally virgin. So it's talking about a woman who's never had sexual relations. So what's happening here is this is not a Christian interpretation. It's a Jewish interpretation, because it dates back to the Jewish translation in the Greek of the Old Testament. All right, so we're hearing rabbinical teaching on the Old Testament Hebrew Scriptures that this is a woman who's never had sex with anyone. So far, so good? It's a big deal to understand this, because this is a huge prophecy, and it's in a weird place. You ever notice how weird it is? You're in here with Ahaz, and they're talking about, you know, he's going to form an alliance with Pekah and Remaliah because the Assyrian king is going to come attack. And Isaiah tells him, hey, just ask of the Lord anything you want. And he goes, well, I don't want to ask of the Lord. You know, I don't want to tempt him. And Isaiah's like, no, you just would rather be with Assyria. You don't want to trust that God can protect you. And then all of a sudden you get this prophecy. Okay, where'd that come from? Out of nowhere. That happens all the time in the Old Testament when you study it.